him if he needs me when I'm nursing the baby and I'm not able to get up and not able to help him. I do not blame the baby. Hi everybody, my name is Erin and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to talk about how to prepare for 2 under 2 and what to expect. So today I'm going to tell you about my specific scenario with my almost 2-year-old. He is currently 23 months. He will be 2 in late October. And my 1-month-old. My oldest was 22 months when I had my newborn. So we're going to talk about that and preparing and leading up to my youngest's birth. So we live in Texas, away from all of our family that lives in Michigan, so we don't really have any of our siblings or my nieces and nephews to be able to show a baby to besides in public. So we will obviously point out babies in public. We'll talk about babies and what they do and cry, and specifically that was one thing that Caden, my oldest, had not an issue with, but he was a little bit anxious about the baby crying when we brought Carter home, but that was just something that we had to teach him, and it really worked, and it was really helpful to tell Caden that just like a cow says moo, babies cry and go wah. So that was really good. And then as soon as Carter would cry, Caden would mock him and he would be completely fine with the fact that Carter was crying. So that was really helpful. Something else that we did to prepare for our newborn with our toddler is to establish not chores, but just things that Caden could do to help us around the house if he wanted to. There was never any pressure, but when he was a toddler, he starts to want to help and to do things himself, and he was just great at helping. So he specifically would, now he specifically gets passies for the baby and knows which passies are the baby's compared to which ones are his, and he will throw away the dirty diapers that are folded up. And before Carter was born, he would actually throw away his own diapers, and he would throw away garbage that was on the floor. If there was some wrappers from something, he would pick it up and know that that goes in the garbage. So that's been really helpful too for him. So we didn't do this, but I've heard a lot about how you can get a baby doll or an animal or something that's specific to the newborn baby's arrival and say like, okay, like I'm gonna take care of the newborn baby and change the newborn baby's diaper. How about you change your stuffed animals or your baby doll's diaper? And apparently that really helps. So that's just another suggestion. We didn't end up doing it because I just didn't, you know, mom life, toddler life, late in pregnancy, no, didn't have the time. So we didn't end up doing that. He's been fine. He does have, Caden does have an attachment to a couple of his stuffed animals, so that has helped in general anyways. So another thing that we did towards the very end of my pregnancy, I would say 35 weeks on, and I delivered at 39 weeks, is spend a lot of quality time with the toddler. So Caden, I went on a lot of like mommy and me date. So I specifically remember taking him to a burger place, just him and I, and having dinner, and he got a little lollipop from the burger place and he was just loving it, and he loved the mommy and me time. We took pictures together, and those were some of the best moments that I had with him, and probably that he had before welcoming his new little brother. So I highly suggest that. I mean, that's still needed even now with both of them. The quality time, the one-on-one time is still needed, especially with the baby needing so much attention with nursing and diaper changes and not sleeping very well and needing to contact nap. It's been a little bit of an adjustment with both of them, but we still really try to get that quality time for our toddler. We're still in the same boat that we were before our baby was born. We still follow our toddler's schedule. We still do the things that our toddler wants to do, like going to the park or going to a play place or the mall or whatever, and we just kind of follow what he wants to do in the evenings. Another thing that we did really well was getting a little gift that was from the baby to Caden. So we actually got him, what even was it? It was apple juice in like this plastic container from the store, really meant for like a one-time use kind of little bottle that was Baby Shark, and then we ended up getting him a Moana one. So he's obsessed with Baby Shark and he's obsessed with Moana currently. So we got him a couple of those, and he, for one, got the special juice and then got more juice because juice is unlimited when we have a newborn baby and we're just trying to survive. Now it's not so much. So that kind of helps take the attention off of the newborn baby and how much attention needed to be split throughout both of the kids. Okay, so this next part of the video is what to expect when you bring the newborn baby home to your toddler. One of the biggest things is the tantrums and the toddler not getting what they want or what they need. So one of the things that I do with my toddler is I tell him if he needs me when I'm nursing the baby and I'm not able to get up and not able to help him, I do not blame the baby. I do not say, oh, I'm nursing the baby, you're gonna have to wait. Oh, the baby needs this, the baby needs that. Because then the toddler is gonna think, oh, so mom's not getting me something because of the baby, or mom's not doing this fun thing with me because of the baby. So I do not blame the baby for having to nurse and not being able to tend to Caden's needs at that exact second. So I'll tell my toddler that my hands are busy and that when they're not busy, I'll be able to help him. And that way it's not blaming the baby, it's not making him resent the baby for mommy not being able to help at that exact moment. Another thing that my husband and I try to do a lot is to try to spend extra quality time with Caden, who is our almost 2-year-old. I mean, he had just as big of a life change as we all did, and he went from getting all the attention to having to share it with a newborn, and maybe even having more attention on the newborn just with the amount of feeds and diaper changes and contact naps that we're having to do and cluster feeding. So it's been a big transition, so we're trying to give him a lot of grace and a lot of extra quality time that we can spend with him. And yeah, it's really apparent when we're not giving Caden the attention and the quality time that he needs, because he will lash out with his behavior, and it gets pretty difficult because his brain is just all over the place with that kind of situation. So spending a lot of quality time is really helpful, and to make sure that his bucket is filled. Another thing that has been a little bit tricky is keeping our firm boundaries with Caden. So for example, one of the boundaries that we have for him is at the dinner table. When it's dinner time, my husband and I and Caden will eat at the dinner table, and Caden's never forced to eat, never forced to finish his meal or even take a bite. We do require him to sit at the table with us until everyone's done eating. If he's done eating and he doesn't want another bite, we don't pressure him to take any more bites, but he does need to have that family quality time with us and be able to have conversations and keep that firm boundary, which is also something that his pediatrician recommended to do when he was about 15 months, is to hold that boundary, keep those boundaries firm, and they will have a lot easier of a time accepting those boundaries and holding to them eventually. Which it's been kind of difficult just because it's like, oh, we have a new baby, you're going through a really tough transition too. We'll let this one slide, or we'll let this slide, or we'll let this slide, when we normally have those firm boundaries. And it's been interesting to try to navigate that, because we do want to have grace and patience for Caden and this new transition for him, as well as hold those boundaries firm and raise him the way that we want to raise him. Another thing that we do, or that I do, especially during the day, is offer feeding toys. The feeding toys are specifically for when I'm nursing Carter and I'm not able to give all the attention to Caden. So I offer him Play-Doh, or to draw with crayons and markers at the table where I can still see him, or to play with some special trucks. Another thing that you can do that I wanted to do, but again, didn't have the time, too tired, in late pregnancy is create a breastfeeding basket that specifically comes down when I'm nursing, and Caden would be able to play with all those special toys and think that they're new, so that way he's still interested in those special toys because they only come down a few times a day. Or in my case with a cluster feeding newborn, often during the day. If you have a stubborn under 2-year-old like me that does not like diaper changes, that fights and fights and fights and alligator rolls and kicks and just doesn't understand, even if I tell him we're going somewhere, we're going to the park, or we're going to get candy and ice cream and all of the things that he loves, he doesn't understand. Oh, I'm gonna get a diaper on, I'm gonna get clothes on, and then we're gonna go have fun. He doesn't understand it at all. So if that doesn't motivate him to get a diaper on, then just changing his diaper throughout the day is just gonna be as bad, and it's gonna be a struggle bus for all of us. So something that I started actually my first day home alone with the boys after my husband went to work was family diaper changes. I made it a fun time where Caden gets to lay next to his newborn baby brother Carter, and we change both of their diapers, and typically I'll end up changing Caden's first, because if he lays down and he listens to the family diaper change rule, then I'll change his diaper really quick and then change the baby's, and then that way they can kind of like play with each other, see each other, whatever. It typically works most of the time. So that's good. We also allow our toddler Caden to help. He's not forced to help ever, but he typically likes to help, especially being an almost 2-year-old. He's starting to get independent. He's starting to see things, and he's starting to see a dirty diaper on the floor, and he will pick it up and put it in the garbage. He will start to see a wrapper on the floor and pick it up and put it in the garbage. So he is definitely allowed to help, but we never force him to. But giving him that option to help definitely makes him feel important. And of course we say like, oh, good job, buddy, thank you for helping, whatever, and that makes him feel good on the inside. Leading to that, I don't know if toddlers actually have love languages. I think they just maybe like all of the love languages, but if I would say that my toddler does have specific love languages, it would be words of affirmation and physical touch. So of course we watch him at the park, we watch when he does cool tricks, we are constantly talking to him and telling him how good of a big brother he is, how sweet he is, that he is like doing a really good job, and that we appreciate him and love him so much, and that makes him really feel good about himself and like he's like doing a good job, you know. We also have stepped up our game on the physical touch for Caden, so he is constantly hugged and kissed, and we run with him and we play with him and wrestle, especially my husband when he gets home from work while I'm cooking. We snuggle all the time and read books, and that is something that Caden desperately needs. So for example, the other day Caden was having a really tough time just before nap time, and he started to have an actual meltdown, screaming, crying, and running away in the house, and starting to like wave his hands everywhere, and he was definitely overtired and ready for a nap anyways. But like as I was getting overwhelmed and the newborn was getting overwhelmed because he was ready to eat and he was overdue for feeding and his nap as well, and I started getting overwhelmed with both of them screaming at me. So once I was able to make sure that the newborn Carter was in a safe space, he was able to fuss for a few minutes, and I grabbed Caden and just gave him a hug and waited for him to calm down, and he hugged me back, and we were able to talk about some things, and he calmed down, and we got a snack, and he just went to bed for his nap just like normal. But he needed that time. He needed that time with me. He needed that time to hold me and hug me and to like reconnect and know that he mattered, even though he does have a newborn little brother that does need a lot of the attention as well. So I highly suggest in your sleep deprived days with a newborn to tend to your toddler's needs. Maybe do some extra fun things, maybe give him a treat, like an extra treat here and there. Definitely do not change the routine too much to where it throws your toddler off even more. So those are just a few of the things that I did to prepare for my 2 under 2 and what you can expect when you bring your newborn home to your toddler. Thanks for watching my video, and stay tuned for the next one.